08288 came to us in about 1984. It was used for building the railway back from Alton to Medstead with relaying trains, purchased from Swindon Works by the Woking and Guildford Group. Brought into Farnham by road and worked from Farnham to Alton under its own power during the night, and then basically rebuilt the railway back to Medstead. So it took a long time actually to get to Ropley, but did a lot of the work in replacing the railway back towards it. It's been in service here then obviously since the railway was reconnected. It's been quite a faithful servant to the railway over the years. Eventually up until anyway, it's about 2000 and in the early 2000s it was retired. It's got quite thick tyres on the loco in a minute, which was done at Doncaster, and lasted in service till 2013 when it was involved in quite a serious fire in the electrical systems. There was some poor cable work on there which basically caught fire, had the fire brigade out to it, and effectively it was written off due to the severe amount of damage done to the wiring. We purchased it back from the insurance company with the initial thought of keeping it for spare parts, but as I say, as we've gone through the sort of loco and done various assessments on it, it was felt that it was something that we could actually restore back to its own back to its own health. And that's really where the Phoenix name comes in. It's, it is quite literally risen from the ashes. Had the fire brigade out spraying water on everything. Thankfully for us, the wiring was in such a poor state that when it actually had the fire, took the brunt of it. So it's been primarily rewired completely. All the machines have been checked over, megged, traction motors, main generator, new brushes. So a little bit of engine work. Most generally, the engine was in pretty good health. and an awful lot of cosmetic work, having been laid up since 2013 and not seen a paintbrush since quite a long time before that. It's been a fairly extensive overhaul. Initially, the paintwork started by Scott and his lad Ethan, and when we managed to get it into the works ironically just prior to lockdown, then Jose and the various guys, Robin and co, managed to get involved, and really we've been through pretty much everything. It's got new cab doors, all of the cab's been painted out. It's got a new cab floor. Every panel's been stripped back to bare metal, it's pretty much as good as it was new in 1957. Yeah, so the loco was new to Llanelli in South Wales. In actual fact, in 1957 it was the first engine ever to carry a D number. 3357 was the loco before it, whereas this was D3358. So it's historically quite interested in that fact. It moved from South Wales eventually via Swindon, and spent some time at Newton Abbot. So as I say, the photo there is it passing through the middle road at Exeter St David's. So it was quite a common sight at Exeter, between Exeter Central and St David's. So we've used some of these photos to sort of go through and research the liveries, little details like the sort of single white handrail at the front, to try and get it as accurate as we realistically can. You know, obviously apart from the nameplate, which is new, but otherwise it's as she would have been.
Definitely fired then.
Gentlemen, I think this has been a fantastic day, don't you? We've been here today to see
amazing. Yes.
See this locomotive R08 back in service.
Yes. Yes.
But can you remember how this all started?
Back in the early days with Robin.
Yeah. Well, it was January '84 that Robin first gave the group the challenge of fundraising to buy a shunter for the railway.
That was Robin Higgs, of course.
Robin Higgs, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and Chris Lewis volunteered to be the lead fundraiser.
He did, yes.
And and so we got in contact with Swindon Works and the railway, and found out we could buy this shunter, and the costs were going to be about £3,000.
And can we remember why it was that particular shunter? Why 08288 rather than any other? There were some reasons, weren't there, at the time?
It was, I think, it was just the fact it was old and available, yeah. And it was vacuum braked, so BR weren't going to overhaul it, so it was something that was due to be got rid of.
And I think, we agreed a price of around £3,000, was that right?
Yes.
For the purchase?
Yes.
So the question then arose, how we're going to raise funds, because it was clear that the railway needed an 08. Chris had found us this one, but as a regional group, we took the decision, didn't we, that we would set about the fundraising to purchase the locomotive.
Yes.
And various schemes were then devised by Chris Lewis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much the driving force behind it.
Yes, that's right. Chris was treasurer then to the regional group, wasn't he?
Yes.
Robin Higgs chairman. I think then, Richard, I was doing your job as meeting secretary back in
right, yes.
that far back. Yes, that's right.
So Chris set up the share issue.
Yes.
Initially.
He did.
Which was shares of £25 each.
And this very morning, on a pile of papers at on my desk, I found my 08 share issue certificate. I still have it.
Yes.
My £25.
Excellent.
But that wasn't all we did, was it?
No, the share issue raised £3,125.
Yes.
And but because the 08 needed some new tyres, new wheels before it left Swindon Works, and then the road transport as well.
Yes.
The bill for the 08 was coming at over now over £4,000.
So how are we going to raise that extra £1,000 was the
Exactly.
thing, wasn't it?
So so Chris hits upon the idea of getting some models made on
Yes.
commission. So
and I seem to remember the very first one was the
Yep.
little Lido
the horse-drawn cart,
horse-drawn cart.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ropley parcels delivery.
Yeah.
That was the first one that he arranged for us, and
We sold out on those, didn't we?
Yes.
That sold very.
they sold very well.
Yes.
I think we had 500 or 1,000.
Something of that sort, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they sold well, and so that encouraged Chris to go for another model. But I think the Lido factory were too busy at the time.
Yes.
So
that
the
was it,
second
wasn't it?
model was the steam lorry,
Yes.
and that was a much more limited edition. That was only 100, and they were just I think done as a Code 3, a relabel by a model shop, not by the factory.
Uh-huh.
So
Yes,
yeah.
I'm sorry to say I don't have one of those, but looking at that one, what a mistake.
Yeah.
That one's yours.
I'm not open to offers.
Oh, are you not? That one's yours, isn't it, Alan?
So then after that, I mean, it was a case of we were having success and that, and money was still required for the shunter. So Chris continued with the models.
I can't remember the exact running order, but we did. There was
The bus was next.
Yes.
That was the next. That was the next Dale one.
That's
And
the 150, wasn't it?
no, that was the next bus.
Ah, right.
LSWR 150.
Yeah.
As we had, there was definitely 1,008 of these,
Yes.
504. Some with Alton, some with Guildford on, I think. And then these ones were the next batch with the roof boards. For they were done for 1988
right.
because it was LSWR 150 in 1988 or whatever.
Ah, yes.
And
yes.
there was the big show at Woking and all that. So they had those produced and sold there. And then I think lose the order vaguely, but
Was it the OB who came along there?
the OB was possibly next.
Yes.
Was it, or was the SR parcels van?
Or it might have been the parcels van, yes.
Could have been.
Yeah.
couldn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Steam Aid poster on the side.
Yes.
Because that was a Midhance's fundraising push at the time was
Yes.
Steam Aid.
Yeah.
And then there were the bus rally ones, and we got this one, 96 bus rally there.
Yeah.
They were I think, dual destinations,
And that was the
and then
97
the 97 one, and that was the
That was the last, wasn't it?
that was the last model, yes.
Richard, of course, it's a shame, isn't it, that Chris Lewis, who's central to the whole thing, can't be here today. But I don't think we can underestimate quite the impact and the importance of Chris to this project. I mean, can you remember exactly how much we raised through the sale of these models?
In addition to the £3,125 that was raised through the share issue, with all the models that were sold by ourselves and the railway, the shunter fund in total generated over £10,000.
Over £10,000. Yes. That's staggering, isn't it, from the sale of these models?
Yes, and the final surplus of the funds, I think I'm right in saying, were given to the railway and were used, I think, in part payment for the bogie brake van.
Another fine vehicle.
Yeah.
And very appropriate for the railway.
Yes.
Yes. So I think hats off to Chris and his organisation and all the effort he put into
Yes.
to making
Yes.
this possible.
Yes.
But in due course, the 08 was transferred to the railway, wasn't it? The railway owned
Yes.
the 08,
Yes.
not the shareholders.
Yeah.
And it kind of just went into service and did what was asked of it, didn't it,
Yes.
really? But our group involvement didn't end there, did it? Because then, unfortunately, it suffered a disastrous fire.
Yep.
Did it not? And to the point where I think the decision was taken by the railway, it really was beyond repair and it would just go for scrap.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that's when Chris got involved again and put the thought to, I probably would have been to Colin Chambers, I don't know. Can't we just sort of park it up the end of the siding or something and let's not scrap it and let's see if we can fundraise for it. And I think we...
Well, certainly when I remember the committee meeting when Robin told us of
Yes.
what had happened, we were sort of, well, it can't be scrapped. It's the first. It's the only. Well, it was the first loco that the line opened, and
Yes.
and also, of course, most of us were still around, and we didn't want to see it scrapped because
No.
it's our loco,
It's our loco, yes, that's right.
as it were.
Yes, I think we felt
So-
it's sort of just been given a hard life down here. No one cared much, but we did, sort of thing. Yeah.
And we put the money in for new tyres only a year or two before.
Yes.
Instead, the wheel sets overhauled. So it had, worthy of salvation,
Yes.
shall we say? Yes.
And fortunately, Richard Bentley, who we've been speaking to today, said he was able to get people in who knew. I think a chap came down from Southall. He's saying he's got an experienced diesel fitter and.
No, that's another
was
chap.
that another one?
Another chap. Yeah.
Ah, right.
Yes,
But he
yeah.
got people in,
But,
didn't he? Anyway,
yes.
who could assess it and start doing some work on it. Because we also had another fundraising activity, didn't we, with the driver for a fiver we were doing
yes.
in
At the diesel gala. Yes.
Diesel Gala to raise money for the repaint.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
And that
Yes.
was
That went very well.
that went extremely well, didn't it? Yes.
Yes.
So over the years we've had some
Raised.
regular involvement
Yeah.
Yes.
with this locomotive and with the 08, and to see it in today it's just.
Oh, it's absolutely.
It's never looked so good, has it? I doubt it looked that good to you when it came out of the workshops in the first. When it was
Yeah.
built.
It's never looked that good in all its time all the years on the railway.
No.
It's not since. Well, it arrived at Farnham in September 1984.
It's very much been associated with the Woking and Guildford group.
It has, hasn't it? Yes.
Looking at it today, it's set the standard for all the other shunters on the railway
By some distance.
by some
hasn't it?
distance.
By
yes.
some distance, yes. So, and I think we've got to thank Richard Bentley and Chris Ennett for inviting us all up today. They've just made it a special day, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Yes.